Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Member Moana Maki. Tēnā koe, Ms Maki.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Can I acknowledge our distinguished visitors here, Tamati Kruger, Christy Luke and the negotiating team, the people of Ngāi Tuhoe here today and at home, and to the Honourable Chris Finlayson. Every treaty settlement is a privilege, but what an incredible honour to have your name attached to this particular treaty settlement, and congratulations for all the work you've done with Ngāi Tuhoe. To Whakatane Mayor Tony Bon. This is a very special day acknowledging the brutal history of Ngāi Tuhoe and the beginning of a journey of reconciliation with the Crown. In 2010, I made the beautiful journey to Maunga Pohatu for the first time. Maunga Pohatu is truly a sacred and spiritual place, and as a manuhiri I felt very privileged to be welcomed onto the marae there. You feel the presence of Hini Pukohurangi, the personification of mist and fog, and her younger sister Hinewai, the personification of light misty rain. It was Hini Pukohurangi who enticed the sacred maunga down to earth. In this respect, Mr Speaker, Tuhoe are truly descended from the environment, from the dense bush and rugged ranges of Te Urewera and the ever-present misty clouds that shroud them. There is no question that you will protect the taonga of Te Urewera. And I want to acknowledge the words of the Honourable Dr Nick Smith, the Minister of Conservation, who said he believes that Ngāi Tuhoe will be as good as the Crown or Pākehā in protecting Te Urewera. I will suggest they will prove to be better. Mr Speaker, I made the journey to Maunga Pohatu for the launch of a book called Best of Both Worlds by Jeffrey Paparoa Holman, celebrating the relationship between Tutakangahau and my great-granduncle Elsdon Best. Mr Speaker, in 1892, government survey teams met opposition from Tuhoe when attempting to survey a road through the Urewera district without Tuhoe consent. The Department of Lands and Survey sent my great-granduncle Elsdon Best to Urewera as a mediator. Tuhoe had been in contact with Pākehā society for more than 50 years. However, it was seen at that time by government as the last opportunity to gather information about pre-European Māori society due to the isolation of Ngāi Tuhoe. Elsdon Best joined the road-making team in 1895 and formed a close relationship with Tūtanga Kaho and Paitini Tāpeka of Maunga Pohatu. Through these relationships, he was drawn into continuing conflicts over the future of Tuhoe lands and was eventually accused by the government officials of deliberately stirring up trouble for the government in the rohe of Ngāi Tuhoe. On that basis, he threatened to leave the position, and at that time he was appointed Secretary of the Urewera Commission. In this new position, Elsdon Best was able to record Tuhoe history and genealogy as it was debated before him. Mr Speaker, I feel truly honoured when I travel around some of the marae in the rohe of Ngāi Tuhoe and during my door knocking in Taniatua and Rautoke to see photographs of my great-granduncle Elsdon Best on the walls of those the wharenui and people's homes, and of my grandfather Elsdon Craig, who wrote the biography of Elsdon Best, Man of the Mist. So very personally, I feel that this is a special day for this House. I feel extremely honoured to participate in this debate today, Mr Speaker. The brutal history of Ngāi Tuhoe has been well spelt out by many of my colleagues. Mr Speaker, can I also acknowledge that there is much more work for the Crown to do in the rohe of Ngāi Tuhoe beyond this settlement. We have some of the worst housing in the country, people living in extreme poverty, and there is much in that area that needs to be remedied by the Crown. In that respect, can I also acknowledge the late Terry Firkin and the work that he did in housing and in training young apprentices in the Tuhoe rohe. Mr Speaker, this is a very, very special day for this House. It is a day that I think many thought would be a long time off and very distant into the future. Can I again congratulate the Minister of Māori Affairs and the Minister of Treaty Settlements for bringing this bill to the House. I certainly feel very humbled and privileged to be able to participate in this debate today.
Mr Speaker, I call the Honourable Member to Urewera Flavel. Tēnā koe, Mr Flavel.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Kia ora tātou katoa. Tēnā koe te hara mai te kāinga. Kia tatu mai ai ki muetero te wharepāre mata. E ki ana te kōrero. Kirikawa ki te kupu, kirikawa ki te riri.